Hi, I'm Lee, and welcome to episode 9 of the Link Building Show. I'm here with Oakley.
Hey Lee, thanks for having me.
And today, we're going to talk about work-life balance. Right, Oakley, in PR, you're always looking for a story. Do you find it easy to switch off outside of work?
Yeah, so I think as most people work in PR, you're always looking for new stories and new ideas. You've got to stay on top of trends and, keep on top of upcoming events and things like that. But I think for me, what I like to do, I like to make a note of things in my phone so that I'm not always working. I like to, if I've got a good idea, I like to make a note of it in my phone, park it for the next day. If it's an evergreen topic, it doesn't really matter if it's something you do today or it's something you do tomorrow. As long as you sort of make a note of it, and then that way you can sort of switch off and you can come back to it the next day with a fresh face and work on it that way. And that way you're not constantly, your mind's not constantly thinking about things, and the next thing you're going to be writing. So Lee, have you got any particular tips for striking a good work-home balance?
My advice here would be to turn off work notifications, and then also make sure you don't get too engrossed in work when you're not on the clock, because you find yourself kind of maybe getting too involved in it when maybe you shouldn't be. You want to be also enjoying life on the side. You've got to maintain that as well.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd say what I found is helpful is to plan things to do outside of work. So if you've got commitments, at the weekend, things like that, it forces you to do those things rather than, checking your emails, checking your notifications, things like that, for that are work related.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
If you've got things, planned already outside of work, it helps strike a better balance, I
like
find.
that, yeah. Do you do any work at home, or do you leave your work in the office?
I do tend to leave my work at work. I think it's important to switch off at the end of the day. When it comes to 4 o'clock for us at the end of the day, that for me is my own time. And so then when I come back in the next day, I've got that window of time where I am at work, and that to me helps me be more productive during the day, I find.
I think I'm the same as well. I think generally I like to switch off after work, but also I do kind of find myself checking placements because I'm always looking to see where my stories are.
It's exciting,
up. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one thing I do.
I don't really consider that to be work necessarily.
No, yeah, doesn't count.
So Lee, what would you do if you saw something that was perfect for your client, say outside of working times, and you thought, oh, that's something I would want to do?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the story. I think sometimes it can obviously be very 100% on perfect. It's going to get pick up. I think there's certain circumstances where it's probably worth just kind of sending someone out really quick. But I think if not, just note it down. And if you got work the next day, just try and get it out early in the morning. Then just to maintain it being in the news.
Yeah, because sometimes reactives don't have to be done immediately after something's happened.
And especially if no one's covered it as well. It's
exactly,
good,
yeah.
So what are your top 3 takeaways today for the viewers?
Yeah, so I'd say number 1, turning off work notifications when you're outside of work or outside of the office. Number 2 would be making a note of ideas if you've got them outside of work and parking them until the next day or the weekend or the Monday if it's a Friday. And then number 3 would be to plan things outside of work so you've got other commitments to do so you're not tempted to do a little bit of work here and there.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was today's episode of the Link Building Show. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.